Good morning. It is September 15th, 2013 on a Sunday, and welcome to Answeries Church. Grab a seat. Now, you don't need a book, but grab a seat, grab a glass of water. Hopefully, it's been filtered, and have a seat. Put your feet up on the bench in front of you if that's what you would like to do this morning. It's kind of a joke calling it Answeries Church, but it is Sunday, and I know people are in church right now, and they are listening to someone else's understanding of God somewhere in America. And by the millions, this is taking place this very second. And I was just thinking about discussing this concept of God and a couple points that I would like to impart to those with the ears to hear and eyes to see. It's just my perspective. It's just my opinion. And there's a few things that I'm going to be sharing with the listening audience. So we'll call it Answeries Church for now. And I want to just first, before we open things up in that arena, I want to go over a couple things briefly in this video. There is still flooding in parts of Colorado, in particular northeast Colorado. And I alluded to it in the other video, but for those that are investigating this, if you have any information that you would like to share with me or others about something unusual that you're seeing in relation to this historic flood that they are calling biblical, where hundreds of people are missing, over 14 counties are a part of this declaration of emergency. Why all these governors have to go to the president and sign this order of emergency so the feds can send money is something people probably want to look more into. Why we've got that type of dependency system going on. Is it just psychological? Or is there something more to this declaring the emergency and having to go to the federal government for help? Colorado and other states in these flooding crises should not have to go to the federal government for help when they already have their own National Guard. It's because the counties, the states, the cities are going broke. They don't have the reserves that they used to, and we're getting used to going to the federal government for assistance and asking FEMA for help. And it doesn't mean that there aren't members of FEMA or members of the Red Cross or members of the National Guard that aren't doing good work. We're not reading about, gun confiscation. The evacuations are voluntary, but they said, hey, things are so bad right now. If you don't come with us now, you may be here a month. And they're like, well, we're going to be, okay, well, some of us are going to stay. Okay, all right, we'll see you later. Very different situation than what they did to the blacks and the whites in New Orleans. I mentioned 6 to 8 inches of rain in the last video. That was just like in a short period of time, or like in 24 hours. Over the course of several days, we're talking about well over 16 inches in one account that I read. And the death toll is around 4 or 5 right now. But I haven't looked since last night. It rained last night. We need to ask the question, is this natural? If it's not natural, why is this area being attacked in Colorado? Now, we're talking about Weld County. Weld County is the county, in conjunction with perhaps some other counties, that want their own state, a 51st state. They don't believe the official view of global warming, and they don't want to pay the piper the same way other counties are expected to pay the piper. Because of this, official view on what's causing climate change that they're calling global warming, discounting cooling. And they want to turn around and say, all right, so we need you to pay up this much. So we'll take care of this shit over here, okay? While they chemtrail the air to block particles from the sun. You can find mainstream articles about this. I'm not trying to get all worked up, but and be that guy that's saying, it's man-made, it's man-made. There's something that's not legit about this. But honestly, we're talking about a storm that literally popped out of nowhere without warning and just formed over that particular region. It didn't come in from, this place or that place. It may have come in from One person was speculating that came in from Oregon because, they normally have a lot of rain during this period of time, and they're not having rain, but they are having thunderstorms. So I don't know. But I've heard several accounts talk about how this was a surprise. So it came from out of nowhere. And on YouTube, there may be some videos that are discussing. There's one video saying that it's man-made. It's just stating that it's man-made. But all he's pointing out is the radar and that it came from out of nowhere. But that by itself should lead people that do know how to get more quantitative evidence to back up what they're saying. I don't feel like I got that in his video, but you can find it. If you type in Colorado flooding into YouTube, on the first page, you can find the video. I think that there needs to be more people looking at this, but isn't it interesting how this is happening as the situation in Syria is building up? Not just the rebels versus Assad's forces, but this whole discussion as to whether or not the U.S. was going to strike Syria. John Kerry's just saying, oh, it's going to be small, though. And other people are going, why are you even telling them you're going to do it? Now they're just moving it. Now they're just developing deeper ties with Russia. Now they're just developing deeper ties with Iran. Is it a suicide mission? Actually, it looks quite a bit like a suicide mission. But after all this smoke and all this talk, Colorado gets hit with this storm that came from out of nowhere that they're calling biblical in an area that I perceive to be one of the most rebellious counties in all of the United States. Plus, I haven't mentioned this yet in this video, there's a whole area in eastern Colorado where they have encouraged their people to shoot down drones from the federal government. They're not cool with government surveillance over their ranches, over their private lives that some of their families have owned for years and years and years. And some of those, they don't see a need to be deeply connected to the federal government. It's not because they're radical, whitey righties. I mean, there are reasons for this. There is a lot of ignorance in parts of Colorado and parts of rural America as to what's going on with the New World Order. Some of these people haven't yet got to that point, but they have gotten to the point where they don't trust what's going on now. And at least that's a first step. They should have been thinking about this when Bush was the president. But again, things are now moving faster than when Bush was the president because we have a populist president. No, we don't have an unpopular person. At the time that he came in 2008, Obama was worshipped as some sort of a god, just to go back and preface. Our current president was worshipped like a messiah of some form, especially in my hometown of Portland, Oregon. Google Willamette Week, Obama rising out of water, walking on water like Jesus Christ. Okay, you're getting the point. That effect was so great, so powerful, and I've seen it in people that are loyalists to this regime, that have forgotten the sign, regime change starts at home. And a regime, when you're dealing with that word and what that means, we're not talking about a presidency. We're not talking about one person. We're not talking about one administration. We're talking about a system. We're under a regime with the true power brokers choosing to hide behind the scenes, and people like Rockefeller and Rothschild, although they played their part throughout history and continue to. If you're only seeing Rockefeller and you're only seeing Rothschild and you're not even suspecting something beyond, you're missing the point. So we should pray for the people of Colorado. We should pay very close attention to what is taking place in Weld County. Flooding aside, what else is going to come about from this declaration that they, public officials, are going to help the people organizing the shooting down of drones? They just made a statement that they're going to resist genocide, that they're going to resist this country being completely taken over. All the while, what foreign government was in Colorado last year working with the military? Which country's special forces? Yes, that would be Russia. And in some of the pictures, that you see on the internet pertaining to the Russian drill and the US drill, they're looking at something that to me appears to be a drone. I remember this from last year, seeing the article. There are the Russians, and there are special forces in the US military on both sides, and there were some other groups as well. Looking at this mini aircraft looking thing that looked like it was in a coffin, they were examining. That motherfucker was a drone. A drone. A drone intended to be flown over country homes, rural areas. And you know what else they're going to do? When all this is said and clear, they're going to come back and they're going to say, global warming did this. And global warming hit this county. And this county said they don't want to be a part of our regime, our system, our ideology, our thing, our new world order, because they don't agree that mankind is causing the planet to heat up. Again, they steer away from climate change because climate change encompasses, a potential ice age, which could be triggered by changes in the solar cycle. By the way, someone asked me about what I thought about the glaciers growing yesterday on Facebook, and I responded with an interview. Every now and then, I'm going to start referring to old work I've done because I realize there are new viewers that have never seen some of the information that I've compiled and put together, and some of the fantastic guests that I've had on my show Outside the Box TV, which aired in Portland, Oregon. And I posted, I'll go ahead and post it in the description of this video, just look down below, my interview with Bob Felix, author of Not by Fire But by Ice, and he's talking about this potential that we could see an ice age triggered from the changes in the solar cycle. And I don't remember all the specifics. It's been a while since I've read the book, but he also gets into magnetic reversals. He also gets into the sun. He's got charts in the book that talk about the Mandara minimum and other points in history that we can track and trace and see what was going on with the sun at that time, what was going on with the climate, the carbon records, and what was going on at certain times that we had huge chunks of ice on certain areas in the planet. And so there's lots of correlations that can be seen from that information, and we are seeing record low temperatures as well as high at some times in different parts of the planet. So we're seeing a lot of things taking place at once. We need to continue to educate ourselves about the things that truly drive climate change. There's a lot of debate out there, and I don't know that anyone has all the answers, but what I do know is a lot of these people that are running around thinking that what comes from out of our car is causing these tornadoes and causing these things. It's a pseudoscience. It's a quack science that is so extreme that they are calling people that know that the sun impacts temperatures on Earth. They're saying those are the quack scientists. They're acting as if those people are evil. And they talk about them as if they have no education. And people on NPR, and you hear these sound bites over and over because they have no evidence. They only can create sound bites. People are still questioning the quantitative, documented evidence that man is causing global warming because there actually is no true evidence. They just use their power in the media to repeat this as a mantra. Because as I said in the other video, 99% of the masses just follow and believe what they are told, believe what their government is telling them, believe that their economy is the economy that they should be having, or one worth holding on to, or one that is valuable, or that their ideals are the most important, or that 99% of the people, for the most part, probably look outwardly at the world and blame the world for their problems. With, again, in each one of these cases, a small percent questioning government, a small percent seeing the evil in government, a small percent looking to be self-honest with themselves instead of blame other people for their problems. And most of all, a true 1% seeks a real relationship with that which we choose to call God, which we're going to talk about in the next video. So stay tuned. We'll get into that. That which we choose to call God.